In this video, we will be tasting and talking about batch 124 of the EcoCha Tea Club, a late winter Lishan high mountain tea from Taiwan. Batch 124 of the EcoCha Tea Club is a late winter Lishan high mountain tea from Taiwan. Late winter in Mandarin is Dongpian, or Dongpian is the name given to harvests that are after the winter harvest. And basically, in general, the term Dongpian, which is winter leaf, basically, refers to crops that it's kind of a bumper crop after the winter harvest, in that the leaves that are too small to pick at the initial winter harvests are let to grow for as much as they will grow and then picked at a later date. This batch is in that category, although it's kind of beyond Dongpian in the sense that it was allowed to stay on the tree for almost 3 months. Well, actually, yeah, a full 3 months after the winter harvest. In Lishan, the winter harvest happens beginning or mid-October, and this batch of tea was picked on January 20th, 2026. So the leaves are quite mature, and the motivation, or the demand, I should say, for this type of tea, it's basically a boutique type of tea, and there is a small demand for a leaf that is just allowed to stay on the tree. It doesn't actually grow much more after the winter harvest because it gets cold up in Lishan at 2,000 meters, and the trees start to go dormant. They don't vegetate any further. So these leaves are made up of fully grown leaf material, as we can see, as well as some very small leaves that just didn't grow any further after the winter harvest, as I said. These leaves, we have some photos to share, were actually, there was frost on them the morning they were picked. So it really is a late winter crop beyond anything that EcoCha has ever sourced. And I believe anything that I've tasted in the category of Dongpian or late winter tea. So we're really psyched to be able to offer a unique batch of tea this month. I've never tasted a tea like this before. I've had many Dongpians and there are similar qualities. It's a very fragrant, fresh green. I've never tasted the actual wintergreen plant, but there is such a thing. They use the berries and the leaves for natural flavorings. It has a sort of menthol character to it. This has a slight bit of that. I've had Dongpians that have more of that. This to me is more of just a fresh green, vegetal, savory, herbal character of tea. And I'm just gonna go right into drinking it before I talk more. Very cooled down now. Yeah, so the leaves don't oxidize very much because they're mature and they're fibrous and they're stubborn, basically. And it's cold outside and there's not a lot of, these leaves were left during the initial solar withering process, which usually takes like 20 to 40 minutes, depending on the weather. These leaves underwent solar withering for over 3 hours with these big heaters that are built into this greenhouse. To try to get these leaves to wilt, basically. So extensive solar withering, the initial step, extensive indoor withering, extra shuffling of the leaves, and tumbling. Typically, high mountain tea, there's only one final tumbling for like 20 minutes, or maybe, well, between 10 and 30 minutes, let's say. That's a broad spectrum. Usually under 20 minutes for high mountain tea. This was over a half an hour for, oh no, there were 2 tumblings. The first one was 20 and the second one was over 30 minutes. So that's like more than double of the tumbling as well. The kill green, or the tumble heating, because these leaves are more fiber and less moisture, they wanted to keep the moisture content that was being evaporated from the leaves in the drum while they were being fixed. So they drape cloth over the mouth of these tumble heaters to keep the steam in there and try to steam the leaves as much as not sear them, but just let them have contact with these very hot steel drums. I asked him about the temperature, if he set it lower than normal, and he did. Normal high mountain tea, they set the drum at like 300 degrees Celsius, quite hot, but it's tumbling, so the leaves are kind of being tossed in midair within that temperature. He set it at 280 degrees Celsius for this. So the processing is significantly different from high mountain tea given the original leaf material, and the results are unique. So the one thing that inspired us, no, I should say the most prominent thing that inspired us to share this batch of tea was that it's outside of this standardized spectrum of processing methods that are kind of a little bit too ingrained for most people, like for high mountain tea. Even myself, I must admit, if somebody said they harvested something from Lishan in January, I would have laughed years ago. And I probably only did not laugh because I really respect this guy who made the tea. And also, he made it because people ask for this type of tea. He's not like promoting it himself. He was, again, the boss from the factory said, hey, can you supply us with this type of tea? So he made it happen. And it's valid in and of itself. That's my point. So it's not a high mountain tea in the standard spectrum, and it's not anything else in the standard spectrum. It is its own thing, and it definitely fits within the general category of Dongpian cha. So Dongpian, I guess what he said, that it doesn't officially qualify for Dongpian because a good amount of these leaves were fairly mature at winter harvest, and they weren't like total leaf buds that grew fully after the winter harvest. So his point was that a true Dongpian should be something that's really too small, like just budding, when the winter harvest happens, and then it actually grows its full life cycle after that. In Lishan, leaves don't grow very much at all after mid-October. That's why they pick it when they do, because they don't want the leaves to just get old on the tree. And so they time the harvest by pruning the trees in mid-August, let's say, in preparation for the winter crop. So these leaves are, by definition, overly mature, but it's the first time that it's been proven to me that you can make a tea that tastes good with leaves that normally would be considered too old, too fibrous, not enough of the initial composition in the growing leaves. But that just means that they have a different composition. There's obviously sap and moisture content in the leaves. It's just a lot less. And when you make tea from this type of leaf material, you get a different finished product. And finally, when we tasted it, we're like, yeah, this is totally worth sharing. Let me sip again. So when the leaves were in the pot wafting out, doing their thing, when they're steaming, I get a lot of savory. I smelled artichoke this time, something that's vegetal but deeper than just a green leafy vegetable, something more substantial, a little bit more savoriness in it. As it's cooled down now, okay, so since the leaf material is more fibrous and kind of same with the processing, the brewing is a little bit less conducive because you have to really kind of pull the constituents out of the leaves. I did more leaf material than normal. I went with about a 1:13 ratio. We recommend a 1:15 ratio for normal oolongs, high mountain teas. So that turned out to be like 13.5 or close to 14 grams of tea for this 180 milliliter pot. I started with 65 seconds, and then I went down to 50 seconds, and then I increased 15 seconds each time. So back up to 65, then to 80 seconds, and then to 95 seconds. And I have brew number 6 here that we can try. So the first brew, even though I brewed it a little over a minute, it was still kind of light. The second brew is much more substantial, or noticeably more substantial. Very smooth. That's what kind of surprised me. There's no astringency at all to this brew. The fragrant bouquet, when the leaves are brewing and steaming, and when the tea is hot, is really striking. Now it's mostly mouthfeel and on the palate flavor profile because the tea is room temperature. But it's nice to be able to taste the full flavor. I can't quite pinpoint the herb. It's not quite cooling. I want to call it wintergreen because it's fresh and green and it reminds me of an evergreen leaf somehow. It's not like I go around chewing on tree leaves, but there's something very... it's just... any vegetable, I can't imagine any vegetable tasting like this. It's more of a leaf from a tree kind of character, a little more kind of sap oriented, you know, with these essential oils. I guess that's what I'm trying to grab for, is that I feel like we're getting some sort of essential oil, this kind of aromatic oil thing, especially in the nose. Pretty consistent. It definitely has brewing endurance. So I did it 6 times. Let me go back and run through these. I like the second brew the best. Pretty much the same. It's a beautiful color to the brewed to the brewed tea. Very bright and clear. So something's coming through with these very mature leaves that have been on the tree in cold weather, you know, going down to freezing temperature at night. So that's what intrigues me most, is like what happens to the composition, the chemical compounds within the leaves when they're going through winter. And now we have a chance to kind of taste that, or not kind of, we are tasting it. Okay, combination brew. Just look at that, gorgeous. Sometimes I want to say arugula. It's not quite that spicy, but there is something, a tinge of spicy, a tinge of almost menthol-y with that kind of essential oil aspect to it. So this is a first, 124 batches in. This is the first time we're offering something like this. That's exciting in itself. It's a nice tea to finish up the winter season. We'll be moving into spring harvest next month, offering spring 2026 yields. So this is the last month before the new spring tea season begins. There we have it, Lishan late winter high mountain tea. It is oolong, it is partially oxidized on the relatively unoxidized spectrum, but that's also like, these leaves were processed more than the normal leaf material would be in terms of the timing and the vigorous manipulation of the leaves. So definitely within the oolong category. Okay, thanks for being with us. We'll see you next month.